came in, you know what I'm saying? And then they watched the 3, 2, 1, and it's like, yeah, you ain't watching that no more. You know what I'm saying? It's just easier to say, you're live, bitches. Folks, what is going on, everybody? You know who I am, the emotional meatball Rocky Stucci. On the other side of the microphone is my brother at arms, my brother who gets me in trouble at least 3 times a week. Nexus, Nextcast,
Say no,
wordsmither of wordsmith. Wait, what?
it's the nuggets in the nexus,
Oh,
and
see,
that tongue ties me too. I get, I try, I think it, and then the two of them crash in my mouth and they spill out, and it's like, what was that?
wait, what do you mean by they crash in your mouth? Like a gusher? Because that's what I
Well,
visualized.
no, I'm thinking more of the nuggets. The nuts, the
Oh,
nut of the nugget.
I'm
My
not
my
going to think
thing
of
that I
nothing
like
like
to.
crushing in my mouth there. Dude, you just said nuts in the mouth. Oh,
And oh my God, we could get in now. See, you're starting the trouble. Is the point here? Now, I want to
I
point
know.
that out
Dude,
to everybody.
I just
I
talk
didn't say
shit.
anything.
I'm actually the culprit in most of this shit. But I just blame Bauer. That's all I got, man. I ain't got nowhere else to
Well,
blame.
yeah. See, it's a good thing that I've got the stoic motif going on in my visage,
Hey, before
because
we
shit
get
like
going,
that. Shit like that. The thing is when you get shit,
yeah.
and God knows we are all seeing more shit now than we've ever seen. We're seeing shit on epic scales, legendary, massive, just piles and mounds of this stuff. And it is causing a lot of consternation because it's how the hell do you surf through this shit?
Causing
How
a
do
lot
you
of
know
what?
which nugget to get on and ride and have any sense of your knowing what you're doing, let alone what it is that you're riding?
All right, let's start out like
People,
this, brother. Let me ask you
you
this.
know,
Let me
yeah.
ask you this, man. It's a serious fucking question, bro. What is real? What's reality? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that isn't that the question that we all have in some way, shape, or form at the foundation of the questions of who am I, where did I come from, why am I here, where am I going?
Well, even
I
even in the
mean,
sense of like truth, like okay, so if we're trying, let's say as a nation, we're trying to figure out what the fuck we're supposed to do, right? But on whose tone, on whose tune, right? On whose watch, on whose standard? What is the American ideological view? What is like when the world looks at America? What is our identity? You get what I'm saying? What is our? I don't understand what reality is. I know what we're taught by this group, but I also know what this group over here is trying to teach us and what reality is. And then I have my own reality, which is completely fucking different, bro, than what group A and B are telling me. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So
right.
we have a system that we call a republic, which is a land of law, that we have all these laws that everybody's supposed to abide to, but that ain't fucking real. You know what I'm saying? We have taxes. Everybody's supposed to pay taxes except the people that are way up there that understand the game because we're not educated the game. Nothing, bro, is real. And I'm just trying to figure out, what existence are we supposed to be living in?
Well, I got to tell you, you and I have had many conversations about all of the different speculative constructs that have been cobbled together over the millennia by thinkers and civilizations and all kinds of
Yeah, I think we went
stories
real
and
deep
mythos,
on
right?
freedom, on the illusion of freedom. I think that's what sparked all that when we started talking about freedom and what is it,
Yeah.
and it was just like, that's a
Well,
big taco.
yeah. I think what's happening is we're going through several ages simultaneously. I think we're having an eon flux
What
and
up,
a
Jeremy?
mix where there's so many profound levels of this thing of we call reality that we use all of these different metrics of sensory and information, our sight, this hearing, the feelings, the all of the different sensors that we have or sensory capabilities we have in this carbon-based meat suit are all we really have to go on, except for the magic of the mind and where this consciousness thing seems to inhabit that we use to navigate the reality that we inhabit and experience. And in that mind, in that consciousness, is where all the reality of what is real occurs to us as individuals, and it's from that perspective of the experiences we have that we then have some kind of empirical experience that we know. We only know for ourselves. The only thing we ever know is what we actually know ourselves, what we've experienced. Everything else that people use to define and delineate and give distinction to the reality we inhabit is somebody else's speculation. It's been packaged by somebody who's sat around and just like you and me and everybody else going, what is real?
You know what it seems like? It seems like this planet is full of billions of compartments, and every single day is a game of hopscotch with every single compartment because we have to adjust depending on what atmosphere or environment that we're in, depending on what the viewpoint that group has of reality. I don't know, dude. It's just weird because I'm trying to figure that shit out. Like if you go to tell somebody, man, you need to get on the right path. What fucking path is that? You know, because I was told that, right? And then I did it to find out that there's more corruption in suits than there is in leather. You know what I mean? So what
Well,
path
yeah,
is that?
Rocky, and I totally understand and get what you're saying, but let me add this perspective. What you just described is an outward-looking set of data. It's
Right.
the suits and the people and the shit and the system and all the stuff that seems to be completely out of whack with the reality that you experience, the way you see it, and the
Yep.
way you
Right.
experience it and think it. Right.
Yep.
Well, all of that's the show. All of that's a bunch of carefully crafted and curated crap stuffed into and crammed into craniums, and which gets into the consciousness and spills out into the conversations, and that just become completely useless and most often, unfortunately, destructive. Very negative at a minimum. Those
You're
conversations are because all the shit that's been fed everybody with this bullshit of looking to the outside. Yes, you got to look at the outside because that's where you exist. But if you look at all of this stuff just from a common sense perspective, and this is my opinion, but if you look at everything, all of the systems, whether it's the financial systems, academic, media, technology, societal, all of the different systems that are in play that we use and have to deal with as we navigate reality, they're all broken. They're all just, they've crumbled under their own weight through decades of a whole bunch of reasons and a bunch of influences, from complete mismanagement, poor design, poor rollout, and all those kind of things, to all of the really bad shit like the corruption and the
Yeah.
fraud
I was
and
going to
the
say, and human
absolute abuse.
intervention. Yeah, human intervention.
Right? So you got to realize that the systems have been designed and implemented by the humans. The humans were flawed and fucked up when they designed the system. That is now come full circle to the point where there are none of the systems that we currently use that can be fixed or repaired. They can only be replaced. And it's a phenomenal thing to see from my opinion and perspective. I'm looking at it going, I've been watching this shit get ready for the massive collapse for 25 years. I called the end of the Democratic Party back in the late 90s. I looked at it and I said, these guys, this path, where they're going, these people are going to screw up big time. And it's not that I'm right or left. I just looked at the patterns and the trends and the way it was constructed and being deployed and the execution of it. And all of it was basically, you looked at it and you went, well, if anybody had an engineering or a systems and perspective, some kind of modeling understanding, you would look at that and you say, well, if you're going to go do that, you know it's not going to work, don't you? You know that it's going to crash over here or fall over there. But that kind of thinking and look ahead, strategy, planning, having some kind of foresight, was not employed in any way, shape, or form for the system to be definable, repeatable, and sustainable. It's all collapsed. Plus, the advent of technology, which is where this nonsense and the ufology community of disclosure is getting way too much oxygen, in my
Bro,
opinion.
seriously, bro. I don't even get me going on that shit because I'm going to lose my ever loving shit, and every single person's not going to like me.
Well, that's too bad for them.
That is too bad. That's where I'm at.
And
Really.
and that's one of the things that, going back to what's real. kind of circling back to that a little bit. To me, what's real is only that which resonates well with me.
So you're saying that journey is not on the exterior, it's on the interior.
Well, it has. The core journey is it is both, but the core journey is within.
Right.
Because if you don't get the within correct, the without is not going to go well.
Right.
It's a real simple. It doesn't require a philosophy, a theology, a belief system, any of the isms of panpsychism or monotheism or any of that. It doesn't require any of those things. Reality, in my experience and what I've come to define it as, is that which I understand that everything is a frequency and everything is a wave and everything is in motion, and all of them have their different characteristics, attributes, and habits and natures. And when you look at them, there's a pattern to it. There's a pattern to the cycles within the cycles, with the way that energies interact with one another.
You bring
You
up
don't need.
go ahead, brother. No, finish up. Finish what you're saying.
I was going to say, you don't need some mathematical construct, some formulaic, a huge cauldron of symbology. When you look at these math models, it's basically shorthand for words.
Hey,
And
speaking of that, have you seen that laser shit, dude, where they put the laser on the wall and these people are going really up close to it? Do you see the videos to where they see code and they're able to see? Please tell me you've seen this. I think you can see it on TikTok, and they're saying that inside that light, that laser beam, and it's not something that's on the wall, like it's its own thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't explain it
Yeah.
how the video is doing it. But that's the shit that makes me like, man, it is all fucking code. Our whole existence, there's some kind of code to everything we do, isn't there?
Well, we use words like code to give that idea, that concept, some kind of construct, some
Right.
understanding, right? Code, in the way that we use it, implies math and symbols and instruction, right? So it's basically instruction sets of information in the metrics of the metrics in the matrix.
Holy shit, bro. I'm gonna have to listen to that part back again.
So it goes back to my philosophy, why I call it informatica, because everything is information. And that information is the way that we experience it, and give it some kind of distinction and understanding and definition, is we put metrics around things. Everything's got some kind of measurement. In the quantum fields, if you can't observe it, it has to be, and everything that you do observe is measurable and will get measured. But if you can't see it, it has to be mathematically modeled. Therefore, it becomes some kind of storyline that these guys, with all of these incredible things firing off in their imagination, of these incredible multidimensional constructs of the way things move in and out of themselves or within themselves or around themselves, and it all becomes basically wave theory, is where I think it's got the most juice right now. But holy shit, the battles that are going on in the physics world they're legendary. String theory's getting its ass handed to it. All of these physicists, from Brian Keating, Eric Weinstein, I mean, a whole bunch of them.
Dude, I follow
David
them
Hoffman,
guys, man.
these guys are all going, no, but it's this, no, it's that, but this
Who are
doesn't
those
make any
guys?
sense.
Is it the Weinsteins? They're brothers, right? There's two guys that are brothers.
Brett and Eric, yeah.
Dude, I follow them. These are, and I want to point that out when you said that, because these are self-proclaimed progressives, right? Or at least one of them is the one that goes on Rogan all the time.
Most of them lean in that ideology, yeah.
And the fascinating part, and these are the people that I want to be saturated with, because, here's a guy who's challenged the conservative ideology for a long time. I think it's Eric. I can't remember now, bro. He's been on
Eric
Rogan
is
a
a
lot.
Physicist.
That's the one, I think. Yep. And
Brett is I think he's a biologist, and he does his show.
It was Brett.
Dark
It
Horse,
was
with
it was
his
Brett.
wife. Yeah.
Because and here's these guys that they're able to put their own personal like what their views are personally, and they're able to look at, like when they talk about American politics, dude, they call it for what it is, irregardless of what their feelings want or how they want it to be. They call it for what it is, and I find that fascinating. And that's that information thing, right? And you were saying something earlier, and I want to bring this up in regards to trying to understand everything for what it is instead of what I want it to be, right? Because when we talk about medicine, you can go back to fucking cultures, dude, and there's even today, some of the shit that people do from a medical perspective is disgusting. But I mean, there's a time where we were killing children because we needed the rain. You know what I'm saying? Where we thought that, I think it was the Peruvians or the Mayans that, they would sacrifice hundreds of people at one time for, better tomatoes or whatever it may be. There was a time where we thought ramming a fucking nail in somebody's eyeball was going to make them normal again. And people accepted it. There was a time you could drop your daughter off on a corner fucking store and have her fucking, whatever they call that with the women, what's that called where women goes in and gets, where she can't have kids, but they did it in the old days. Cauterized? Not cauterized. Is that the right term?
Oh, yeah, they did some kind of funky shit back then.
It was right. It was in the United States. Look it up. So it was right during the time when Planned Parenthood first started. There was corner shops where dads could bring their daughters and just say, boom, you're not ever going to have any kid. They'll go in there and have this procedure done, and then it was done. So understanding that
sterilization,
it's same thing, kind of, right?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
But understanding that there's many times throughout history that when we thought the medicine was correct, it was far fucking from it, and it did some catastrophic shit. And so we had to adjust it. So now, and then coming with my background, in manufacturing and like what you do, we're data people as well, right? So we know that what's happening today isn't going to be data that's going to be able to collect it until the future, right? So it's going to be really hard to really so we know that data is being collected on whatever situation we're experiencing right now, good, bad, or indifferent, and that data analysis will be in the future. But we're to a point to where we can see the future and understand what we have to do. So we're trying to make the adjustments while it's happening, or trying to recognize what could be the potential failures in what we're trying to create because of history, right? But we don't fucking use history, bro. We just pretend.
Well, we use the history that we've been given, right? Because the history that we already know, the history's all bullshit, and it's about to get turned over, which is one of these things. In fact, maybe this is a good point to bring up.
It is.
Bring up the findings over there in Giza.
Dude, I thought that was bullshit at first. When I first said, okay, so he's going to pull a video up here and he's going to bring up something. But while he's pulling this up, Bower, I'm going to tell you, when I first saw it, I'm like, I thought it was AI bullshit. I thought it was just more. That's the question. And that's why I started this program out. What's fucking real anymore, right? I don't even know. Even like you said, history. What part of history is actually, who were the real fucking victors, man, right? Panama Canal. United States assassinated the president of Panama when they first built that shit because they were going to get the lease of Japan. So, we assassinated the motherfucker so we can get it, right? I don't know if that's good business negotiating or not, but it's not the standard that we preach. I'm just saying.
Well, I want to get on that whole idea about...
break it down. Tell everybody what's going on here.
All right. So, but I do want to come back to this whole idea of what you just said. Like, Trump has just been pulling basically the master real estate king of all time. As soon as he got into the position that he earned, he went on a shopping spree. He started looking for real estate, just total fucking real estate play, and it's been absolutely hilarious to watch. This, speaking of real estate, is the latest that has been, and it's a new team that's gone over this data, and this is what they have found using all this new telemetry to look in and under.
Dude, this is fucking mind-blowing, bro, because this is just, you know what? I'm just saying, man, this may be more evidence of fucking aliens, man.
I think it's evidence of a whole bunch of shit. Let's have a listen.
Of a discovery this is. What has just been announced in relation to the pyramids at the Giza Plateau and the plateau itself is so incredible, so awe-inspiring and narrative shattering that I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who was studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology that was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga, called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. So this was used to explore the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high resolution full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock, in fact over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers, massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far. Utilizing high-resolution radar images from Capella Space and Umbra, which are 2 private companies that specialize in satellite-based synthetic aperture radar imaging. This has allowed researchers to create a 3D model of the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this model has revealed a previously unknown chamber with 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof, which in of itself is an architectural design unlike any previously documented in the Giza pyramid.
I didn't see this part.
The most shocking discovery lies beneath the surface, below ground level. Radar tomography has identified vertical cylindrical structures extending for hundreds of meters beneath the pyramid. There are 8 of these cylindrical wells arranged in 2 parallel rows, descending to an astonishing depth of 648 meters. Even more intriguing, at the base of these structures are 2 massive cubic formations measuring approximately 80 meters in diameter. The tomographic data suggests that these are vertical wells with intricate spiral pathways. Now, this design not only implies a functional purpose, but also a level of sophisticated engineering that completely blows the dynastic Egyptian model out of the water. I mean, the pyramid itself was already a massive red flag in the ancient Egyptian historical narrative. But now, with this discovery, I think it's become impossible to say that the Egyptian civilizations that we understand, that we've been taught about, were responsible for building these structures. And it doesn't even end there. The radar analysis extends beneath the entire Giza plateau, revealing interconnected structures beneath not only the Great Pyramid of Giza, but also those of Khufu and Menkaure. The subsurface network reaches down to a staggering depth of approximately 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers. This is not possible, given the standard historical and archaeological narrative given to us about ancient Egypt. Now, I'm hearing that there is more to come. There is a 4-hour presentation that's going to be released by the research team. This is what I'm hearing. That's going to go into every detail of their findings. This has essentially been a strategic release of incredible data ahead of time to get people interested. And I am more interested in this than basically anything else right now, because this is by far the most provocative piece of evidence for not only a potential technological explanation for the purpose of the Giza complex, but it also provides the most extraordinary evidence for a pre-flood era civilization that was flourishing in a way that we can scarcely comprehend. It's also possible that this spiraling cylindrical series of structures are staircases. And I can't help but think of the channeled writings of Thoth the Atlantean, the emerald tablets, speaking of a lost hall of records, a sacred hall of knowledge below the Giza plateau, the halls of Amenti. Could this be the lost hall of records from the pre-flood era? Now, obviously, this discovery is extremely controversial. It runs as a complete contradiction of the established narratives and status quo in mainstream academia on these issues. This will cause big waves throughout the academic and the wider world if they can fully evidence these findings. But the results so far seem pretty clear. There is obviously significant structural engineering taking place deep below the pyramids and the Giza Plateau in general. Has this changed your mind on the pyramids? Has this strengthened your position on what they might have been? Has this new discovery given you any new ideas about what the implications are? Let me know in the comment section below. And honestly, everyone, share this far and wide. This is such interesting stuff. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll just have to see where this goes, because rest assured, I'll be keeping a very close eye on any coming announcements and updates on this issue. This plays directly into one of my main interests, which is, of course, prehistorical civilizational implications. What was going on before the global cataclysm? Well, I think moments like this could shed light on that question. What a time to be alive.
You know, he kind of looks like a good-looking John Ward, because John Ward is ugly. You know what I'm
saying? And you know that John's going to get a clip of that.
Yep. I'm going to send it to his ugly.
And there'll be a rebuttal.
Yep. Oh, you bloody fool. Bro, this is so mind-blowing, but it kind of fucks me up a little bit, because it validates ancient aliens in a lot of ways.
You know, the amount
How does this settle with you, bro? When you first saw it, I mean, I'm still like, what the fuck? You like the depth that those thingies went down, and then those other structures inside the pyramids that look like temples or whatever they were. Like there are 5 look like houses or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think there had to have been people that knows this shit, dude, secretly?
I think that's a lot of that knowledge has been available and kept by the mystery schools and the secret societies and brotherhoods and so forth. And I think that a lot of it, when I did my show last night, which is coming out today, the new series, Did You Know? I covered this on that new first episode. And the first thing that I thought, I looked at it and I said, does it resonate? Going back to your first question, what is real? So the first thing that I did is I just looked at it and I said, that resonates with me on a whole bunch of levels. Do they have the details right? I don't know. Do they have the structural components of this thing that's been found through this new telemetry and topography and basically and it leads to this other thing that I want to share with you. What Microsoft just came out with, which is a 4th state of matter, which is based on topology math. And they have actually created something that is apparently out of all of the periodic tables. It changes everything that we currently think about as physics. And in the quantum physics and quantum computing, it's mind-boggling. But back to your point, what do I feel about this? It seems to me that it makes sense that they have found something that is definitely there. The lore and the legend of something being there goes back as far as we know with the cosmologies that we've been able to decode.
I just realized something.
Yeah.
You changed your background.
I did?
It looks fucking fantastic, bro. It looks so good, man. I like how you have it separated. You have it split like a set of legs, right? So you got the light on the left, but you got the salt light on the right. You got the shelf, so you got the visual, fill. But then you have the center with the black background, which highlights the speaker. Bro, I got fucking chills. I'm not even fucking lying. Look at that.
Dude, well, I have to say thank you very much for that. A lot of work and a lot of time. This is my setup. My guitars are clearly behind the drapes, but
that is thought out right there.
I like the drape model, and seems like it works well in a lot of the podcasts that I enjoy that I think are doing some of the better work.
Yep.
But going back to this, okay.
Yeah, sorry about this, bro.
Joseph Farrell's latest book, The Daemon and the Acre, which is basically about what he discovered over 20 years ago, if I get this correct, when he first did the Giza Death Star series and started his journey as an author, which he's now up to, I don't know, 40 books. This guy is like a machine, and he's a scholar. So he writes and does research in a scholarly, model. So his latest book is about what Zacharias Sitchin covered in one of his books about at one of the entrances above the entrance to the Khufu pyramid, the Great
Those
Pyramid.
are the smaller ones, right?
No, the Khufu's the big one.
Okay.
If I got it correct.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But the big pyramid, the Giza pyramid, has an entrance, and above that entrance on the lintel was a marking. And this marking didn't look like anything that had anything to do with Egyptian. And it was kind of ignored, and it was thought about by people like Sitchin. But Farrell took it to another level, and he's done a shitload. His whole model basically aligns with Christopher Dunn's, where the pyramid was a power plant.
Dude, it all kind of makes sense now, though.
Farrell takes it to another level and says that in his latest book, basically, that the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, was a energy machine and actually a weapon.
Dude, it makes sense, too, because when you talk about the Sphinx and the big conspiracies, that there's these entryways or whatever the fuck, they're right next to the pyramids, dude. And if they're talking about these underground taverns going like all these different directions, dude, the Sphinx isn't even a conversation anymore of being a big conspiracy, because we're talking a land base.
Mm-hmm.
This is fucking fascinating to me, bro. I'm way into this shit, dude, and this validates my seeding theory. I'm just saying, not my seeding, not my theory, but this theory I support.
Well, the thing too is that a
What's
lot
up,
of
Paula?
a lot of the shit that people have been thinking about. Hey, Paula. A lot of the shit that people have been pondering and pontificating on that have turned into what has been categorized as these conspiracy theories and woo-woo. To me, it's the woo, and it's wandering in the woo. And you find when you're in the woo, the wonder while you're wandering.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
everybody
I don't.
experiences this.
Man, dude. I mean, I heard you, but I was still like a sentence back. You know what I'm saying?
So I think that the shit that we are experiencing is those of us that have been, if you've ever tiptoed in the woo, you'd really find that, the more you tiptoe, the more you kind of, it's like when the water's really hot and you get in the bath, you go, oh, it's too hot, but I'm going in anyway.
I do it.
Right. And then once you're in, you go, you're so glad it was just that extra hot, and took you a little extra care to get in it and finally get submersed. But when you're in it, you're like, oh, this is what
your
I want.
balls
Then you
grow
throw
huge.
the jets on.
Yeah.
Right. You get the bubbles going, you get the jets going. Yeah. I mean, that's when you lay there and you go, well, that's what happens when you start wandering in the wonder of the woo. And if you're fortunate enough, you're going to face plant and you're going to roll around and you're going to go, yeah, this is cool.
Let me ask this though.
Go ahead.
What is the oh, fuck, man. There's so much I got to fucking ask. What could change historically though? Is now we need to really look into what it is, right? And to try to determine what was the reasoning. And it's probably going to get really mucky in that arena. You know what I'm saying? In regards to all the super smart people over there trying to figure this shit out. But how does it change our views on things? Does it change certain things?
I hope so. I hope so. It should. It needs to. I mean, and that's what this. If people have got all kinds of definitions for this transformative stage that we're in. Back when we first started the Informatica 5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Actually, coming up on 2019. Right. Man. What did we say? It was a transformative disruption that was the recognition that reality is all information. And then being able to see the information that's available in reality, and then being able to suss it out, figure out what is this? Why is it called this? Who gave it this definition? What does my experience and exposure to it feel like? And then you start to have this discordant bounce off of the reality that you're experiencing, because you start realizing that what you're experiencing and what you're being told that you're experiencing, they ain't jiving. There's a problem in the vibe, right?
Yep.
So that's why I was saying earlier, the journey has to be within to get your own, find your own vibe, right?
I'm just trying to think of what those fucking big pillars represent, and I could see why those would be stairways going around if they were building it,
right.
But it's so they can't be fucking shock absorbers for earthquakes, They
well, the way that they drew it, the way they represented it was, is it close? Who knows?
That's what it looked like. The way the drawing looked.
Right. I looked at it and I said, okay, that's a nice shock absorber.
Yes.
And they've got a lot of movement over there. But that goes back to my point. That to me, when I look at this and contemplate that, I think that it feels like it resonates with my experience.
Yeah, we can't even figure out how the fucking they built the shit, dude, let alone how they put those motherfuckers underneath the pyramids.
That's where the wandering and the woo comes in.
Fuck, dude.
Because all of that kind of, thought and exploration and imagination is typically considered in the tinfoil hat woo-woo categories, which is fine. The cool thing is that the woo and the tin are being revealed as being the ones who were right. So the street cred for the woo and the tinfoil hat folk is building with alacrity. I mean, there's more shit coming out, people going, yeah, we thought it was that. We told you that it was probably this. And, oh, my God, look at all the rest of this crap that's been uncovered by what? Technology. Thank you very much.
I'm starting to think we're at hero status, bro. Us conspiracy analysis, dude. I'm starting to think that we should almost be labeled somewhere in that fucking hero category, dude, because we're more accurate than CNN. You know what I'm saying, bro?
All of the mainstream is in a self-imposed implosion.
All right. Here's the next question: do we hold these people accountable for the manipulation of history? Who determines what we learn? Who determines what goes in the books? You know what I'm saying? So how do we handle the rewriting of everything if we find new truths? How do we as a culture handle that shit? Because we can't handle fucking our Kool-Aid changing flavors. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that there's actually going to be an organic movement of logic and reason. It's starting with common sense, and from common sense, logic and reason will flow. And people will start to have what I'm calling, we've had this great awakening where people have went, oh shit, look around, I see stuff I didn't know was there before. I didn't know there was shit to ponder like that before. And when that happens, then the great reveal kicks in, because you start seeing stuff and you go, well, wait a minute, that's not what I thought it was, and this certainly isn't what I want it to be. And that causes the next stage of the great rethink. So now you've been awakened, shit's been revealed, now you're having to rethink stuff.
It's just difficult for me to have. It's difficult for me to have such expectations for the population in general, just because of the fact of, look at what we've experienced just the last 2 years, whether it be the UFO stuff, whether it be the jabbity jab stuff, or whatever it is, dude, the politics, a fake president, all that shit, right? We all know of all the different things that have been bullshit across the board, straight, like illegal as it should be, right? Or corrupt as it should be. And we just are just like, okay, we got to go to work tomorrow. So my hesitation, I guess, would be where we're not going to get the information or the results that we need or the recognition it deserves, is because of the lack of interest from people who are more interested in what's on Jerry Springer than what our history actually really is.
I would concur in the past, but that is so last decade. I think what we're seeing is people have actually gotten to the point where the common sense has kicked in, the reasoning, the logic and reasoning, and having some kind of rational rethink of what is happening organically. And I think that people, the folks with the Cheetos on the couch crowd are getting a serious dose of, whether they want to pay attention or not, everyone is watching the fundamental transformation of all of the things that people thought were true to be not true. And it's and that's the great reveal that's happened in the Great Awakening. So all of a sudden, people are seeing shit that they thought, even if they didn't think about it, which is actually the most ripe folks. For people who didn't think about the possibility that there was massive amounts of corruption and fraud and abuse and waste in our government, who thought it was the end-all to be-all, to find out that it is so pathetically run to the point of just massive amounts of theft, is you don't have to, if you didn't think that there was that possibility, well, you certainly do now. So those of us that have thought and known that for decades are being validated now.
I like validation. I really do. I really do. There's a whole bunch of shit we've been validated on, bro, and I'm pretty damn proud of that shit. Because we never went off the hinges on the shit that didn't have anything to substantiate our theories. We've always had something to bite on a little bit. Even if there was gray in it, there was still something that had real relevance to kind of support what we were discussing, right? It wasn't just something that, like, I have this one guy, he's a QAnon guy, and he thought George Floyd was going to come out in Dallas, Texas, and tell everybody he wasn't dead. And it's just like, it's hard to entertain intellectual conversations with people when everybody who died, their whole focus is on that they're not dead, right? And so they literally take work off to go to the great reveals that never happened.
Well, that to me is just another part of the purposely polluted paradigm that people are
100%.
using to determine what the hell it is that they think about whatever they're being shown.
Yep.
And all of that is a show. I mean, these are all, theater kids and people that are hired. And what's interesting, you notice how when they went in, especially with that USAID, and all those, 10,000 plus NGOs, just places that end up nowhere to empty this and that, and that's where checks go.
There was companies that were supposed to have like 200 and some employees showing up every day, and then when they went there, they said the most amount of employees that showed up in a day one time was like 17 fucking employees. So employees don't even go to work; they just collect their check, and they even admit they're like, "Yeah, I don't go to work because I don't have to."
I think what's happened, and this has been a part of, aside from the just crumbling defeat and abject, incompetent execution of the political process by the folks on the left of this last year, just complete buffoonery, failure. And I mean, if you looked at that and had any other thought than that was going to fail big time, you were living in la la land. You were uninformed. You weren't paying attention. You weren't engaged just with watching the frequencies and the energies in the event stream. You don't have to be a soothsayer. You can just be observant and look and see what direction. But aside from that, well, I think what's happened with this Doge and when particularly the USAID, but the Medicare, the Social Security, all of the shit, that obviously defense is back the day before 9/11. Most people don't remember that Don Rumsfeld came out that day before on the 10th and said that the Pentagon could not account for $2 trillion. They couldn't account for it. Going back to your question about, is it accountability? I mean, one of the easy things that you can look at and say, well, there's clearly been a bunch of fuckery afoot, and it's been intentional, and it's been nefarious, and it has been going on over time, decades. It's metastasized. It's turned into a corrupt goo that, again, you can't fix it or repair it. You have to clean that, you have to bulldoze it, and you have to replace it.
Literally.
The thing that I think is really screwing with a lot of people on the left is the fact that what's happened, particularly with this USAID, when you look at the political ideologies and the policies of all of the ones that they could identify and find, they're all run by a bunch of Democrats. It's all a bunch of left-leaning people on the left. And I think what's happening is it looks like what's going to happen, and like I said earlier, I called back 25 years ago, the Democratic Party is going to lose its shit. I said the same thing about religions, but I gave them 50 years. So we're halfway to that one.
Okay.
But this political group has basically been a criminal operation. And
dude, they made the mafia, dude. I was just watching an interview with Gravano and I can't remember who the other guy was. And they were talking about the difference within government and the Costa Nostra. And there is no difference, and they see it clear as day because it was their lifestyle. You know, the whole racketeering thing. Well, our government is the glorious, fucking famous racketeers on the planet. You know, and so even criminals are just like, yeah, they're doing what we did, and they're getting away with it though, right? They don't have to go to jail for it.
Well, because they've engineered a way. They corrupted a system. And it found ways to, especially because it wasn't being audited. There was no accountability for anything.
Literally
so
not.
The 4.7 trillion had no proper transfer codes to it. Nobody knows where the money went.
Or these mysterious clowns that we send money to every fucking month that they don't even have fucking social security numbers. We don't even know who the identities are. We just mysteriously send money every month in the billions to these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and that's my point, is that the majority of where this stuff has gone sideways and looks very sketchy, nefarious, and otherwise, is the people that are involved are of the Democrat left-leaning ideology,
radicals,
politically.
Psychopath,
the victimhood activists.
Dude, that's a great term. Victimhood activists, suckholes.
Yeah, and these people, they're paid. They're paid to do what they're doing, and that was coming back to the point I lost there. I tossed that nugget. I just saw it roll back around.
Oh,
you notice how? Where's BLM? Where's Antifa?
Yeah, not yet.
Where's the, aside from these small groups? Where's the protests over closing of Department of Education? Where are the street activists and all of the traditional dumpster fire crowd? Where are they? You notice this stark lack of what would usually be the reaction of especially events of this magnitude. There are thousands of people that are losing their jobs.
Aren't they over there fighting right now in the streets for Hamas?
Yeah, I think they're doing the campus thing, which just got its little sack clipped to the tune of $400 million.
Good.
And you go, all right, are you guys learning anything yet? So I think that when they shut off the U.S. aid and a lot of these different programs, the money that was going to fund all of these victimhood activists dried up. There's the money to go pay these people to get them out into the streets. Now, there's the one I will say has been funded better and is the Tesla shit, the stuff that they're tossing at mucks. It's funny as shit. They're protesting by burning up their cars or giving them away, and doesn't hurt Musk any. They already paid him. So it's like, you're the one losing the asset. Help me with the logic here. But that's just another example of the kind of buffoonery that people get.
These fucking psychopaths are ramming their fingers up their buttholes so they can scrape shit out their asshole and they can wipe it on a fucking car. Right? That's dude, that is like seriously mentally fucking deranged shit, dude. I don't even like looking at shit, let alone touching it. Even if I was trying to get back at somebody, I wouldn't stick my finger in my asshole and scoop shit out of my ass. You know what I'm saying, bro? I mean, I visualize me doing it.
Did you have an extended stay at the zoo at some point in your childhood?
Dude, I got shit thrown at me from a fucking chimpanzee once.
Why doesn't that not surprise me?
It was the Como Zoo when I was a little kid, bro. I was a little kid. I didn't know what to do.
I think you probably started it.
Probably. I probably threw a rock at his punk ass. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, monkey. What's this?
Fuck.
So anyway, I think that's what we're seeing.
I want to stay on this really quick, though. I got one question that kind of adds to this.
Yeah.
Is the conservative class an oppressed class in the United States?
Well, it has been for sure. But it ain't no mo.
It ain't no more. That is real. And I was sitting there thinking about this the other day, and this is why I wanted to ask you this, is because, we look at, the oppression of Jews. We look at the oppression, what's going on with the Asian Americans or this or that. It's like, well, what about the fucking conservative? We have been getting our asses thrashed for 8 fucking years, being called Nazis and racist and whatever kind of fucking phobe that they can come up with in their fucking lunatic fucking brains. Sooner or later, people are not getting jobs. Look what happened during the jabbity jab stuff when people couldn't go to church, but people could go protest. The oppression is literally right in front of our face, and we're not doing anything. You know, it's why where have we lost our balls to push back?
Well, you're the macro perspective you're taking from the ideology of conservatives having that kind of ideology and then being sequestered, pushed aside, dismissed, denied, and canceled and otherwise. I personally have been on the crusade for at least the last 3 years on championing bringing back old white guys, okay? White men, old us, okay? I am tired of all of the bullshit that being white, being male, you're screwed. And if you're an old white male, okay, now you have the stack against you, okay? And because there's going to be all kinds of shit hurled at you because of your old white maleness.
What's your definition of old, bro? Just out of curiosity, where does old start for you?
For me, I would think that an old age would be in the 90s, 100s to me.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
I plan on being around till at least $120. I've been put here to do certain things.
$120, my asshole, bro. I know how you live. You ain't making it to $120.
Well, I have plans. I'm trying to go into the youthing model instead of the age.
You know, everybody has an age though. Honest to God, everybody has an age. Like ever since I've been a kid, dude, I've always said 84 was my age. 84. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna make it to 84. But that's what I've always said since as a kid. What was
People were surprised I made it to 40, let alone 50, and now I'm a year or two away from 70.
What are they trying to say?
Well, they thought,
dude, you're almost 70?
Yeah, 68 this year.
Shut the fuck up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna make it. You're making it to $130.
Well, right now, current course and speed of the shit that I'm here to do, it's going to take that long. I mean, I won't be able to get it all done until I make sure I have enough time to do it. So, but here's the point about this. I think that we're seeing that people is a conservative, right? Yeah, conservatives just got a big old bump. I mean, basically somebody laid a big old rail out on the coffee table and everybody took a snort.
Could you still to this day, do you think you can make one?
No.
Dude.
No.
I mean, I got a shit just thinking about it, to tell you the truth.
It's very good for that. So I think the conservatives are, they're riding the wave. I think that these poor fucks on the left, they're in the wilderness. Their wilderness has become a hiking and camping trip.
They're
not wandering in the wilderness. These people are going to be gone for a decade at least. The ideology is the problem, and if you look at the bench and the people that populate they're not healthy. They look angry. There's all kinds of weird shit going on with these people.
They don't look healthy.
They have to resolve. They need to resolve within themselves before they can figure out how to cobble together some kind of platform, program, policy, and presentation that's going to be persuasive. We gave them the keys. They drove around. They crashed into everything, wrecked the vehicle, and fortunately, we got everybody out before they drove it off the cliff.
Hey, by the way, American Jackass said that your balls look beautiful for being almost 70.
Really?
Yeah. You sending them pics?
Did I? I'm not sure if those were pre or.
Oh, I think he's a member of your OnlyFans. Dude, I'm going to start an OnlyFans just to clip my toenails. Whenever I clip my toenails, I'm going to record it and go live.
Well, the thing is that people require information and entertainment. And if you can do infotainment, and then you kind of cover both, right?
See what I'm saying? Dude, see, we're on the same page on this shit, dude. I'm going to show people how to professionally use a rotozip on your toenails. Dude, I ain't lying. One time my toenails were so thick, I used a rotozip to thin them down. Because I didn't have time to sand that shit. You know what I'm saying, dude? I just need a rotozip. Dude, it took 5 minutes. And a whole bunch of cuts around my toenail.
Well, I mean, I have used my hunting knife and chopped a few down now and then.
So what were you saying now? What's his fourth level of whatever? It was the second story that kind of went with the pyramids, maybe?
Oh, fourth level of matter. We'll hold it on. Hold on
Fourth
here.
level of matter. I didn't even know
Now,
there was a third.
this gets a little wonky, but it's done really well, and the most important part is the stuff up front. So we'll just play a minute or two of it. This is this is along the lines of exactly what we were talking about with, like, the whole idea of what's under the pyramid. Is that energy? What's going on there? What's knowledge? What's this concept of the state of physics? Is it even valid? Is it turned into scientism, which it actually is?
Scientism?
That's what the whole science model, in my opinion, all of the sciences, that which they tried to separate themselves from, they have adopted and become more of. They've become like a religion. But take a look at this and have some fun thinking about what this possibly means.
2025, the CEO of Microsoft tweeted, "Most of us grew up learning that there are three main types of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Today, that changed." By 6:15 p.m., the internet was on fire. But this wasn't hype. This was physics itself being rewritten. Forget what you know about matter. The rules just changed. Because after 2 decades, 7,305 days, 412 failed prototypes, and one warehouse fire the SEC still won't talk about, Microsoft's quantum division has done the impossible. They've created a fourth state of matter.
I got a note from somebody that works at Microsoft that says, "We just announced this 2 minutes ago. You should see it." It was pretty amazing. It was a video that they released. It was about 20 minutes. Let me tell you what the CEO of Microsoft tweeted shortly thereafter. "A couple of reflections on the quantum computing breakthrough we just announced. Listen to this sentence. Most of us grew up learning there are three main types of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Today, that has all changed."
Not plasma, not Bose-Einstein condensates. Something else. Something Nadella's team is calling topological conductors. Materials that don't just conduct electricity, but shape reality as they do it.
What?
Think I'm exaggerating? The video they released shows a silver-black substance that flows like liquid mercury, holds its shape like titanium, and when they ran a current through it, the lab footage shows the damn thing twisting into perfect geometric spirals on its own. No magnetic fields, no external triggers. This isn't some lab curiosity. Microsoft's CTO admitted on camera, and I quote, "This is the missing link for fault-tolerant quantum computing." Translation? That glowing alien goo in their petri dishes could be what finally makes quantum computers practical, scalable, unbreakable.
And we are calling it iPhone.
Today, we are launching a new model, GPT-4 Turbo.
We've had iPhone moments before. This isn't that. This is Newton's apple hitting him so hard the tree apologizes.
Jesus.
Because when your kid opens a science textbook tomorrow, that 3 states of matter diagram, it's already obsolete. But here's the real question. If they've been working on this since the Bush administration, why announce it now? What did they finally see that made them hit publish? Turns out, the 3-state lie was just the beginning. Let's rewind. 3rd grade, Mrs. Thompson's science class. 3 jars on the desk. Ice, water, steam. All matter is one of these, she says, and we believed her. We built civilizations on that lie. Here's the truth. The 3 states of matter aren't wrong. They're incomplete. Like describing Earth as just a rock. Because for over a century, physicists have whispered about a shadow world of exotic matter, states that break the rules, states where atoms don't just vibrate, they dance.
Jeez, bro.
They gave them names: plasma, Bose-Einstein condensates, time crystals. But these were curiosities, lab freaks that only existed in $1 million freezers or neutron stars until today. Microsoft's breakthrough isn't about adding a fourth chair to the table. It's about burning the table. Nadella's tweet said it best. Today, that has all changed. Because topological conductors aren't just a new state. They're matter with memory. Matter that adapts. Think of Play-Doh. Squish it and it stays squished. Now imagine Play-Doh that remembers every shape it's ever been. That's topology, the mathematical voodoo behind these materials. Their structure isn't just physical, it's mathematical. Carve a topological conductor into a donut, and even if you shred it to dust, its quantum shape persists.
I got a question.
This isn't evolution, it's rebellion. For 120 years...
Dude, when it says that it retains memory, is there anywhere in there that it says that that memory can be changed?
I don't recall anything in this particular presentation of it. Based on the model with the math that they're talking about, the retention of memory, if what they're doing is what I think they're doing, it fits in with my model of the infinite field of frequencies in the event stream. Every movement and flow of the energy fields and the frequencies that make them up, every instant that they exist, because it's always in motion, it's always creating more of itself, and it always seems to be in some state of looking for novelty or something new. It always seems to be there's more of consciousness. Well, that energy, as it expresses itself, it leaves stamps. There's a frequency stamp that occurred when that first new motion created something new. And that we are part of those, we are one of those stamps. We are a stamp of that infinite field of frequencies. As we get stamped how and who and why, speculation is legendary. But the fact that it apparently that's what it does is what we all experience. So it's an easy observational, well, what happens? Well, there's always more of us. So that stamp, that's what a memory is.
Can you trust humans with science?
Well, with human science, no. And with the science behind the science, that's what I want to know, is why is this stuff what it is? The how, right? The greatest question ever asked is why? And the most annoying question, especially when you have kids, was why?
Oh,
why?
Because I motherfucking said so. That's why. That's my answer.
Well, why did you say you motherfucking said so? Why?
Because I'm the alpha, and there ain't no more questions.
Why are you the alpha? Why are there no more questions?
Oh, God, dude, I feel like I'm in a relationship with you all of a sudden.
You know what I'm talking about.
This is so weird that there's all these different new... Okay, so this is kind of weird that so much information's coming out right during... I don't even want to say it's new, dude, because the chances are all these fucking UFOs have probably been around this whole fucking time. We just ain't looking up. You know what I'm saying? We haven't been paying attention enough because there's people we know that have been doing this shit for years that have video after video after video after video of what is now new to a lot of people in society.
Well, and there's the research that's been done, the Cozy Rebs, the Walter Russells, the Royal Rifes, the Teslas, of course, Maxwell, Heaviside, all of these guys, Faraday's, and even before. And this is what goes interestingly enough to me, is going back to the pyramid. That looks like some kind of energy construct, whatever that. If they're anywhere near close to what they've depicted as the constructs underneath, that is an energy system. That is some kind of something that's designed. And if that is true, then Farrell's through Sitchin, Farrell's latest idea is that it was actually a weapon and an energy weapon, and it not only had pinpoint accuracy to any place that you would dial in on the planet, it also would do that cosmologically. So you could direct it at the moon or at comets or anything that was that you could apparently reach within the our solar system. But it also had a time element. It also had the ability to dial time. So, for example, Joseph gives the idea that you had the ability to dial in a place and a time for the weapon to go off.
Yep.
So the accuracy had a time element to it as well. One of the speculations is that the Tunguska asteroid was actually hit by a pre-timed and destined energy pulse from something like the pyramids.
Do you think there's correlation with like Skinwalker Ranch? Because the shit they're finding in the ground there, dude, I don't know if it's similar. I mean, they're not finding structures, but energetically speaking.
Oh, they're finding all kinds of anomalies using, again, going back to the toys and the tools and the telemetry.
They're using the same shit they used on the pyramids.
Exactly. They're using those same kinds of frequency tools to see what the hell they can, because the tools are just keep getting better and better, right?
Dude, I'm not a receiver. It was just one night we were super kinky. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of Jaeger.
Well, is receiver, giver, aren't they the same?
It can be. It just depends how you look at it. It's all perception. You know what I'm saying? It's all quantum fourth mechanics.
All right, brother. I'm going to show you one more, and this is.
Which one is this now?
This is our brothers over at Future Forecasting Group, Dick Algier and the team, Ed, Daz. Naeem is part of the team, and he's the guy, the last guest I had on the Nexus.
That was the remote viewer guy.
Remote viewing, yeah.
I'm seriously.
So
after I listened to that episode, I messaged Bower, and I'm just like, bro, I didn't know at first. I said, because sometimes it takes me time with whatever my brain works. After about 5 or 6 minutes in, I was sitting here editing a bunch of other shit. I sat here for the whole interview because it was fascinating. He talks a lot about remote viewing and his work, and it's phenomenal. Go to the Nexus Nextcast YouTube channel. Watch it. It's under. Just go to videos. It's one of the most recent ones, right?
Yeah, we it came out about a month ago.
What's the name of it titled?
Documenting the Future.
There it is. Documenting the Future. Just look that shit up. All right.
Yeah, and we'll I'll drop the link in the chat.
There you go.
But this is the guys over at Future Forecasting Group, and what they released just yesterday.
I just realized I was holding my balls this whole time. I mean, I literally was cuffing them while I was talking, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. You ever do that?
It must be a security thing, or
like a hand warmer.
Okay. All right. Let's see what they came up with. This is their particular task was the U.S. energy grid from 2025 to 2029. And this is just a summary of the sessions that they got with this target. And I believe this was all double blind because they all are.
Under double-blind protocol, the Future Forecasting Group was tasked with remote viewing the growth and changes of the United States energy sector between the years 2025 and 2029.
Vocal arguments, two-sided debates about something.
I see faces with anger. Some other people are upset.
It was a very visual image. I had two guys shouting about something, and they both had like aggressive statures to them.
This decision is going to have a major effect. There's going to be widespread repercussions.
And it feels big, a major shift or change.
A major change, almost like a reversal or a 180-degree switch.
I saw this person with these fractals all around their mind. So thoughts from a complex mind.
Genius type, scientific. He's involved in some kind of scientific decision. He has a breakthrough.
So this person standing at a podium, he was the secretary of something. That's what it felt like to me. And this person gives a briefing.
Making a press release, important announcement, in attractive blonde, very professional, well-educated, offering clear message, no room for misinterpretation.
The description is very important, and the person at the podium needs to deliver this information appropriately.
And I get the idea of quantum computer technology that solves or bypasses the energy problem.
Utilizing quantum resistant technology.
I heard that, bro.
Computing resistance.
0-point energy connected to quantum computer technology, connected to artificial intelligence, and these merge into a field.
Technology and technological advancements that is being addressed, like AI and DeepSeek.
And that field they merge when it switches on is consciousness.
Having to do with genes or DNA in a lab setting.
Humans have to rapidly adapt and evolve to harmonize with this and interact. Brain interface, Wi-Fi on steroids, chipped.
Widely distributed, even mandated or essential. Questions of human rights violations.
Levels of access to nature and technology. The lowest tier, you interact with harsh natural conditions, very limited technology access, except for control of you. Mid-tiers, some pleasant interaction with nature, augmented by technology in terms of entertainment. And the elite tiers get access to paradise nature, full access to technology for comfort, information, entertainment, and experiential.
See the entire video at futureforecastinggroup.com.
Dude, that's wild because you had 3 different guys there and they all had similar reads on the same stuff.
Oh, yeah, and that happens a lot. They get crossover on targets on a more frequent basis. I've been following them for years.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm a trained remote viewer. I'm a certified trained remote viewer.
Yeah, I know.
And
we talked about that a few years ago.
Fucked me up, dude. It fucks me up because, you know, and even with the psychic stuff, the problem is that if you're, I don't know the right term. I'm not even going to use that term. I'm always afraid, or what I feared the most was being wrong, right? So like if you're going to do a remote view on somebody's house, you or me personally, when I was first being trained to do it, I struggled constantly is this my imagination? Am I just using my imagination to picture what I think is a remote view? Which is very common, I guess. Most people go through this process until you build a level of confidence, right? You have to do it enough times. And that's what I learned. You have to break through that barrier of being wrong, the fear of being wrong. I did one psychic reading on a lady one time. They knew, because in order for me to get my certificate, you had to do a psychic reading. And when I did the psychic reading, again, I had the exact same fear. I was afraid of being wrong. And when the people came, they knew I was training. But I told them, I says, I want to do this, but I want to turn my back to you, if you don't mind. I know it was rude, but I said, I want to turn my back to you. I don't want to see your facial expressions. And I really don't want to hear you or your reactions, because then what I was trying to do is eliminate them having speculation that, oh, he was reading my body language. So I just did a full reading without looking at them. And then I turned around and they were on the fucking floor bawling, bro. Because I was so accurate. And that took me like a week to get over, because I didn't understand what just happened. I didn't.
Well, Naeem talks about this. There's different stages, but one of the most important things and he's got a great course that he just released on. It's 100 targets and a complete workbook. Takes you through the process. But there's some clips on my channel under the Naeem Vendreas, and it's documenting the future is the main show. What he talks about. Yeah, he talks about. Let's see. I can bring it up here? Yeah, because it's
like. Was there
really
something
good.
he brought up about the future? Because I've never done like future remote viewing. I've never done that. Just real time stuff. And dude, I thought about this. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you know who Chris George is, psychic. He's part of the paranormal community, but he was doing a live stream last night, and I just popped in a live stream. He was taking questions. So I asked him a question, and I asked him this. I swear to God, I did. I says, do you often think, or not often, do you ever believe that sometimes what you're picking up on, that you think a spirit could actually be somebody remote viewing? And their presence remotely, their consciousness, that's wherever, whatever it is, however they see, right? However we see what's going on the other side of the world. Do you ever think that a psychic or even during a paranormal investigation, that what we think would be a ghost could actually be a conscious that's remote viewing.
So the idea, basically, what I saw when you described that was two consciousness streams navigating their way through the infinite field of frequencies and kind of bumping into or interacting
and their
with.
purposes are different, right? So one was remote viewing, doing his remote viewing work, and the other one is trying to do a psychic connection with whatever reasoning, right? And I guess, dude, that's a great way to put it, because that's exactly what's happening, is that somehow their consciousness is meeting up somewhere in
the frequency stamp of energy that makes us our uniqueness of our consciousness, which gives us all of the characteristics of our personality and all of those things. And that energy is what animates the meat suit that we uber in this iteration. But that energy is eternal. It's because everything is eternal. Even this meat suit, it decomposes, and that energy transfers into something else. It does a transmutation into other frequencies of energy. And whether we see it is whether we have developed enough ability or been gifted with bolts from the blue or some other place with, hey, if you go look over here, you'll find some very interesting things that you will be amazed by. The whole radio spectrum, the infrared spectrum, all of the light spectrum, all of that, once that was widely used, and the ability to find, basically in a radio, you're dialing into frequencies.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
And that is a magnetic connection for receiving a wave that is already in the air.
But that's what I tried.
It's already there.
Bro, I tried telling Cal Cooper this shit, right? Okay, so Cal Cooper was an understudy for the Tanis Foundation. Alex Tanis was the most scientifically studied psychic in the world. And I had him on my show one time, and I brought up, this is when it first came out, right? So mind you that there wasn't a lot to support it, but this is right when the Spirit Box first came out. Now, I want people to understand that, the Spirit Box came out, it runs through AM, FM frequencies, but this practice has been going on far, I think since the 70s, since the old school 70s radio stereo systems, right? Where you had the big dials on them and shit. And there was an Italian scientist who was doing the exact same thing that the Spirit Box kind of represents, but he had it completely emptied and gutted on the inside. So however he was trying to dial in, I don't know for sure, but it's that, and that's when I told Kel, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Because he laughed off the Spirit Box. He thought it was a bunch of hogwash. I'm like, okay, I understand, right? I understand the skepticism. But if we sit here and exactly what the fuck you just said, Bower, on how when we go to a radio, and a lot of people don't understand the concept of how radio works. They just say, hey, there's an antenna out there, and somehow we're picking up the fucking station. And they'll never even know how it works, right? And they don't realize that you are dialing into the perfect frequency to match the same exact frequency that station is outputting, so you can have that fucking sound, right? So how could that not be possible with terrestrial activity or paranormal activity?
It has to be, from my perspective, it has to be that way. I mean, because 100%. It seems like all of that's where, I wax on about its vibration and frequency and energy, as Tesla said. Those are the things that are the awareness of their existence, their characteristics, the way that we interact with the seen and the unseen. Because all of it is something that is expressed from the frequencies, from the infinite field of energy. And the energy manifests everything that we experience. Our consciousness is energy because it's from the consciousness of that the energy expresses itself from.
Can you remote view in the past?
I think these guys, Dick, Daz, even Naeem, some of the stories that I've heard of the things that they've seen, a lot of remote viewing, having a verifiable target is, the ultimate, right, in a double-blind situation. But when for example, the future that we just saw, they just had a target that had a time in the future. There was a stamp that they were blindly targeted to, and they said, okay, what does this code represent to me? And boom, they went in and
so they had
that information.
So they had a target, right? They had targeted information. So if they wanted to try to remote view Atlantis, being in the past, but technically the land, if Atlantis was real, then the land still exists today. We just don't know where or what it was, right? So right now, Atlantis to most people is just something that is a story. To some other people, it's real as fuck, right? And I actually believe Atlantis was a real city. I really do. And I'm curious, and the only reason I bring that up is I'm curious if any remote viewer has ever tried to do any kind of viewing on the locale of like Atlantis or the history or anything like that.
So one of the most profound ones that I've enjoyed since I found it about 12 years ago now, I think, was when Dick Allgaier and Daz Smith were working with Courtney Brown.
You really could, though, American. You really could. Sorry, go ahead. You could. There's people that have those stories. I mean, you hear where people are in the cemetery. Police officers, YouTube that shit. Police officers getting mysterious voices on their radios. It's real. It's cool shit.
So, what were you talking about?
73 Chrysler LeBaron.
That's where I'm still
remote
at.
viewing
Before
and the Atlantis and.
Oh yes, thank you. Okay, got it.
I fucking remembered something.
Yeah, dude, I'm impressed. Now I'm going to have to continue. Shit, I thought you were going to take it somewhere else for a minute. Take over.
I feel dirty.
Marinate in it. Marinate in it.
Go
Your
ahead.
meatball. Marinate your meatball. All right.
Oh, by the way, when I was watching that video, all of a sudden I thought there was a snake underneath my fucking chair because I heard a hiss. And then I looked over at Bower.
Yeah, there was just a slight amount of
opportunity
enjoyment going on during that little interluded video. So Daz and Dick, working for Courtney, were tasked with a double-blind target. The target was the Toba eruption 70,000 years ago.
What?
Down in the South Pacific. Toba is one of it's accepted by archaeologists and anthropologists and geologists for the most part as being a seminal event in the planetary life cycle because it was so violent and huge that it darkened the planet for a decade or more, I think.
Damn.
Life just took a shit after Toba.
Didn't even know that.
So, Courtney tasked Dick and Daz to go look at this and try to find out what actually happened back then. Was there something that caused the Toba eruption?
What was it?
Their results were.
First off, was there a consistency in the results?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of correlation.
Okay.
The basic summary is that there was an advanced civilization who, at that time, it's quite probable that the position of that area was more towards equatorial as opposed to at the bottom. Okay,
Got it.
The whole Antarctica being up in the lower latitudes of the or the upper of the southern hemisphere as being a complete island where maybe, yes, Atlantis, whether there was a city or not, I think there was an Atlantean civilization and empire that had a whole bunch of places around the planet that were centers in and of themselves. Poseidia being maybe the central, according to Plato and whoever, but nonetheless, they saw that there was an advanced civilization that was in this position where Toba is to try and get energy from the center of the earth. And the experiment, they had been working on it apparently, and they almost got into the core, and then something went wrong, and they knew that it was going to be cataclysmic. 2,000 people were selected from the civilization and sent off in boats to repopulate because they knew that they only had enough time to get 2,000 out apparently. And then this explosion happened in destroyed the civilization, and Toba erupted and fucked with the planet for at least a decade.
I wonder how
here's
they
an
decided.
Here's an interesting correlation to this, which happened just before they did this remote viewing. You remember the Human Genome Project?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big deal, turn of the millennium. A bunch of money went in, and a whole bunch of money ended up not. The CEO of the Human Genome Project was had famously quipped, "I became a millionaire the easy way by starting at $1 billion."
That is the easy way. That's the easy way.
Right.
That's probably
That's
how
right. I mean, you can get there quick. But basically, the main research that they got was being able to track the genome and lineages. And they had come to the conclusion that sometime around 70,000 years ago, there was around 2,000 people that the rest of the humans on the planet after that came from.
What? Whoa, bro. I got questions.
Right?
So that
totally different data set.
Yeah.
Totally different data set. I mean, these guys were one looking for one thing, the other looking for something else. And they came up with correlative information that's quite fascinating, I think.
Dude, that's deep, bro. I never heard this before. This is all brand. I've been doing this shit for this long, and I'm just now hearing this. Do you think? Do you think there was a global shift, which could say why the equator or the South Pole was equator level, and maybe there's like a magnetic rotation or something, or a pole shift or something?
I think that the crustal, the Hapgood model of the crustal plates is the one. It makes the most sense to me. I think different people have interpreted it in different ways, but.
Well, they say that this here in Florida, I don't know. I think Rand Carlson said it. At one time in Florida, the shoreline was like 2 miles further out, or the land base was so much fucking higher.
It's generally agreed that the oceans were 12,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. The oceans were 400 feet lower on average.
So we should have been freaking out. We should have been freaking out over fucking global warming, centuries ago.
The amount of civilizations and artifacts off the coasts of all of the major continents are probably, for whatever's left, but that's probably one of the most incredible wealths of history and awesomeness that we will ever find. Yeah. Aside from what's under the Sahara, as well as what's in the Amazon.
What's under the Sahara?
Sahara 5,000 years ago was lush and green with rivers and lakes and people and shit doing all kinds of stuff over there.
Damn, bro.
And that's where the Eye of Rashat, I think it is, where people are trying to pin over in Mauritania, trying to pin that as the center of Poseidia or Atlantis because of its circular construct, odd geological components. There's a whole bunch of shit on all sides of it.
What makes sense to you? What makes sense to you if you were to theorize where Atlantis would be? What makes sense to you?
As a city, as a main hub, the center of Atlantis, I would say probably something along the lines of the Antarctic continent as we know it, as it is today, probably the original.
Because wasn't Antarctic also tropical at one time?
That's what I was saying earlier. It was more up towards the upper part of the southern hemisphere at the equator.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
And so and if you look at Neil Adams' Expanding Earth videos, I mean, does an excellent job of just showing how clearly not only are we on in an expanding universe, we're on an expanding planet.
What about
which
Ethiopia?
Includes hollow components to it.
Right.
We don't have an iron core; we have a plasma core. So this plasma energy is constantly making more of itself, and as it does, it expands, which creates more of the stuff around it, which is what we are on, and therefore we are. Everything we look at, everything with the telemetry we have, everything is expanding.
So basically, when we're seeing a volcano, it's basically just blue balls releasing. If you think about it, bro, if you think about it, we're a blue planet. I'm just saying, you know, and
The
it's
blue
releasing-
marble. The blue marble has released some buildup. Yeah,
Just saying,
it's got a little back pressure going on.
It's a lot of back pressure, actually, a lot. Right. So what about Ethiopia? Have you heard Ethiopia in any of these conversations? Because a lot of people think there's some, significance in Ethiopia historically as well.
Oh, well, yeah, there's the culture. I mean, hold on a second here. It's got this.
Yeah, like the Dogmen or something like that. Are the Dogmen from Ethiopia? The Dogmen tribe?
I'm not.
I think
Dogon.
Dogon,
Are you talking about the Dogon?
Yeah, whatever. Same thing.
Ethiopia has this rich history of a lot of the Christian stuff, a lot of the original Hebrew stuff, some of the I guess the Pharisees and some of the other fools and fuckery that were inhabiting all that upper class of saying what was what and who was who.
But nothing of the relevance of like Atlantis or anything like that. It's just more human type of.
I think that it's probable that throughout the African continent, there was probably more Atlantis 5,000 and 10,000 years ago when that entire Sahara was not a desert.
Right.
It was a tropical lush, just like Amazon. Right? And you look at it, and directly across from it is on the next continent is the exact opposite. It's all lush and green, and you got all kinds of growth going on. So there was a change apparently and it's documented in various sources, where it hints to there was a known period when there was a global shift, and it happened rather rapidly in a few hundred years, maybe even a few decades in some places, and everything shifted. So the vegetation, the flora, the fauna in various regions went through major transformation.
God, could you imagine if that shit happened right now? Would everybody die on the planet if we went through one of those shifts right now?
I don't know. It depends on the severity of it. I think that it's most likely that what we'll see is some kind of physical shift in the energy fields. In other words,
See Paula.
Hey, Paula, thank you.
I love her.
We'll see more of a shift in the energy fields, and people will feel that. The things like GPS and all of the positioning and so forth, there's been a lot of need to change all of those traditional markers that are used by aviation.
Don't we have to change
because of the
North
shift in the
Pole every year?
magnetic field?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, I heard the airports do that every year. They have to, and it's not a lot, but they have to readjust the North Pole actually because of, I think the Earth shifts like a half inch or something like that, a quarter inch or something. But
the most important thing is the magnetic pole, the magnetic north of the positive side of the pole is moving quicker and faster than it ever has been, and since we've been measuring it. So it's a visible change, and it's trackable, right? So I think the last thing I saw was it was moving at about 40 kilometers a year, up from 20 a year over the last decade or two. But
Holy
numbers
shit.
could be, but it's something like this, and it's accelerating. So it's heading straight for Siberia.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That the North Pole someday, it could be however the fuck long it is, but someday the North Pole will be somewhere in Russia.
Well, it used to be down in what we call the Hudson Bay in North America.
That's crazy, dude.
And from the tracking that we have now, so it dipped, and then it took off up across the Northwest Territories or whatever that top Canadian section is, right into the Arctic Circle, and it started to beeline straight across to Siberia.
Hey, Bower, I got one last question, and then I got to wrap, brother.
Oh yeah, how long are we going?
We're on over an hour and a half so far. But every time we talk, I literally just saw the time. I'm like, holy shit. If you could time travel into the past, not the future, into the past at any given time, what time, and you can only have one time, what time would you go to? Would you want to go to the
beginning?
pyramids? Oh, bro. But what is the beginning?
I don't know. That's why I want to go.
But what if you go there and it's not the beginning yet, though, and you're a little early?
Well, if the intent is to be able to go to it and check it out, then I'm going to assume that if I can do that, I want to go back to the beginning and watch it happen.
How about you could go back, but you can never come back? Would that change where you would go and when you would go?
Oh, then it would be a whole cadre of questionable ideas and
That's
choices.
where I'm at, bro.
I mean,
that's where I'm at. I mean, I'm thinking nasty shit. I always take this shit off the edge. I'm thinking like, where would I benefit the most at what time where I can just get away with shit? You know what I'm saying? Shit. But fuck, I'll probably go back to the 50s.
I think, there's all kinds of times that I would love to go back to just to see what the hell, right?
Would you want to meet Jesus?
And the thing is, here's the crapshoot, in my opinion. We were talking earlier about how all the information we have is just corrupt and you can't trust it. There's no credibility. It's all a bunch of bullshit, lies, and nonsense. And we're having to look at everything and go, well, shit, now I got to rethink everything, including the history, right? So if we're going by the history we got now, that we're told, well, this happened over here at this time, but it really wasn't. But we picked that time, and we end up there, and it's like, you fuckers got it wrong. You didn't have that dial in. How much more of when and who and where do you have wrong? Because I'm guessing it's a fair amount of it, if not most of it. And so that would be the one caveat. If you could time travel, it's like, yeah, do you want to trust the time?
Yeah, you'd think you'd go back and see Jesus, and you're like, oh shit, I was 200 years off.
Who are these fuckers?
Who's this ugly bastard? Oh, it's his pre-cousin. Oh, okay.
This is not where I thought I was going to be.
Hey, sir, did you know that your great-great-great-grandson? Jesus, bro. I suppose I couldn't say that either. That's wild, dude. I don't know where I would go. I find myself coming up with because I would still want to go where there's certain conveniences. You know what I'm saying? Like some party supplies.
Well, the thing is that what are those conveniences? Which are so basically, if you can, and there's I don't know if you've seen this show. I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a TV series from 2012 to 2015, I think, called Continuum, and it's based in. Have you seen it?
Fuck yes, I have.
Outstanding on a number of levels.
You might have been the one to turn me on that shit, dude. I can't remember, but I watched all the seasons.
Exceptional. I mean, the production, everything, the storyline, the twists and the turns, and the whole. They go way past the grandfather paradox, create dual timelines, and then skip between them. And it's like, okay, and then you find out that there's this guardian of the timeline that is in place with a council of protectors who are supposed to do the bidding of the guardian and protect the timeline so there isn't anything's changed or fucked up. And if somebody, right?
How could that be off though? You know what I mean? When you really start thinking about shit and the shit we're learning now, dude, there could be some Thor shit going on right now for real. Like that dude up in the sky that guards the time. Whatever he does, I don't know for sure what his job is.
What's that guy's name? That's the guy with the big sword that stands.
Yeah, dude. Adolf.
Yeah.
Adolf. Hey, Michelle, you watch this stuff. What's the gatekeepers? The time gate, because time has something to do with what he does, right? Doesn't he have a clock there or something?
He's got if we're talking about the same dude, it's the big black guy in Thor stands at the time crystal.
There's a huge
got
penis,
the sword.
Dude. Yeah.
And he just dials it in.
And you're gone.
And you're gone. Right?
How do we know that's not real?
I think it's more probably real than we realize.
I'm going to go to South Cal to visit Michelle. I'm just going to go call that dude up. He dial me in, bitch. Dial me in. I'm going. Hey, pick Bower up on the way.
Yeah, no, yeah. Make sure pick up a brother. Give me a lift. So I think that these kinds of ideas, and they're all over the place. Well, one of the best series I think I've ever seen to date is the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that had 7 seasons. They covered everything from time travel to time displacement to multiple timelines to all of the hybrids, the LMDs, the genetically modified, the alien inserted and infected, the Omnicrons, right? The Chronicons. Enoch.
Heimdall.
The
What's Heimdall? 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 Heimdall. Heimdall.
Heimdall? It was Heimdall. Who is Heimdall?
She's asking if that's the guy's name, the gatekeeper dude, the big black dude with the big penis.
Oh, that I might be. Yes, that actually sounds like it's probably right.
The rumor is it went down to his knee. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but it's big, really big.
So I just want to toss a little nugget rant out on this whole idea of time travel. There's a community out there that does the super soldiers, the 20 and backs, and these programs that apparently they've been involved in where they have been modified in some way, whether it's regression in age or enhancement in skills, and then sent somewhere and then regressed back and gone through some pretty wild sounding shit, right? And I don't doubt that a lot of these people, if not most of them, really believe what it is that they are talking about in their experience. But just like, the whole ufology groups and even in the paranormal foology, all of these groups typically assigned to or associated with, stuffed in the category of the woo and the tin. All of these groups are squabbling amongst themselves about trying to figure out who's got the right model, right? Who's got the right expression of what reality is. And specifically on the ones like UFOs, the paranormal, the spirit realm, spirit boxes, all the invisible, these are all things that they are non-corporeal for the most part, although they seem to manifest in and out of corporeal and incorporeal, which is an odd frequency thing, but they seem to be very fleeting, very rare, and they seem to be aberrations in the event stream. As we experience, whether it's a flying object, a spirit, an entity, an entire scene, an entire reality where you think you were completely somewhere else, and then all of a sudden you realize you were not there at all.
Oh, bro, that happens.
Right?
That happens. Weird.
So those kinds of experiences are the way in which the consciousness that is our frequency stamp, inhabiting and integrating with the meat suit that we are.
Hey,
is where the real is. That's where the real is. The rest of it is just the shit going on around the real.
The shit, literally. Dude, I chewed a dude's ass out. Speaking of the paranormal foolery, I usually don't do this, bro, but I went out of my way and I chewed this dude's ass out the other day. He did it. There used to be this guy. I don't even know if he's still around anymore, but his name was Steve Huff. And Steve Huff always sold that, all these fucking dead celebrities would always come and talk to him. and we got a new clown, you know. And I scrolled through and I seen a video, and here's this motherfucker talking to Gene Hackman. I'm like, dude, you're a piece of shit. I says, you are the reason why I got out of the paranormal. You are literally the reason. You're fake ass bullshit. And then you go on to social media and you're selling the ticket as Kool-Aid, bro. You literally captioned that you're talking to Gene fucking Hackman, right? Like Gene Hackman died and said, oh, honey, check it out. There's this fucking guy over here in this fucking state who has a spirit box. Let's go visit his sorry ass so we can communicate with people. You know what I'm saying? That's why I get out of shit. That's why I don't get involved in the UFO community. I'm into the shit. I'm into ghosts. I love paranormal investigations, man, but I don't choose to entertain with communities that are going to degrade what I'm fucking trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like to sell that shit is pathetic.
Well, I think that my point is, I think they're all because of the scuffles and the skirmishes and the slander and the shit that's being slung about. I think that they're missing the point that they're all in a better place now to prove their shit than ever before, and they need to stop taking it so personal and look at it as a community of actually shared knowledge and information and experience that is going to have even more evidence to it going forward, not less. They're on the right track. They just need to, stop acting like a bunch of theater kids. Right. Everybody's got some kind of new, I got this new evidence on my show of Bigfoot this and, Sasquatch that. And it's like,
no. And then I got my ass chewed out last week because there's this new video of that fucking Bigfoot. You know, the most popular video in the world of Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. You know which one I'm talking about? So there's this new video that somebody made using AI. And I'm like, well, that's really not technically the fucking video because it's altered. They're like, well, what do you mean? I go, where'd the tits go? So you turned Bigfoot into what you wanted fucking Bigfoot to be, because the original video and the video at the beginning of your video, that Bigfoot has titties. And if you watch Bigfoot, those titties slowly start going away. So you just created a Bigfoot in the perception that you fucking wanted it to be. And now it's all over the internet, sold as Kool-Aid.
Right.
Where'd the tits go? I want the tits back on that Bigfoot today.
Authenticity, I think, is the other component that we're seeing becoming more in the minds of people as they navigate the reality, because they're seeing so much shit just because of basic common sense that they're going, wait a minute, let me ever look at this again and try to figure out why did I like that when it's clearly not likable, and there's why am I liking it when it's so bad, right? There's all of that going on. So people are getting through an initial dose of, oh shit, now I got to rethink stuff. Put the Cheetos down, get off the couch, go in here and poke around and see what, nuggets of knowledge I might be able to drop in my noggin and knock around to see what the hell's going on.
I really hope I look like you when I'm 68, bro.
You look this good when this age you are, not lucky you will be.
No, I'm not going to make it that, dude. I'm not going to look. I'm so fucking shocked still, dude. I just, American just made a comment, and it's just because I'm getting old, but it just brought me back to you, dude. I'm just like, I'm so fucking shocked, dude. I would seriously, honestly, if you were to say, guess my age, I would say 54, 55. With a beautiful ball sack. That's what I would say.
And I'm just trying to remember, was that before or after I shaved that I sent that picture?
It was before, because you still had the braids. So.
Oh man,
I gotta go, but I had a 3 o'clock. I got to get to that. Bower, we need to do this at least once a week, man. Just shooting the shit. Whatever we want to talk about, let's just get on, talk about whatever the fuck we want. Let's do it.
I think that would be a healthy thing for not only us but for everybody. Here are some cathartic. Noodles in the noggin and with some extra meat sauce,
Extra. Like an earth exploding full of volcanoes. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Bower, how can everybody, especially that remote viewing episode, so tell people where they can find you, how they can find you, and all the fucking, man, you got a ton going on right now, bro. Fill everybody up.
Well, the best place to go is to robertbower.com. And all of the media, all of the platforms, everything is there, including all the other stuff that may not be in a platform. But I'm almost there. I kind of went nuts the last month or so and got on Spotify and TikTok and Substack and putting out a whole bunch of new content. The Naeem Vendreas Remote Viewing and Consciousness series is on my YouTube channel, Bower Media 1, and it's the playlist is up where you'll see clips and shorts, and it was a 2-hour overall conversation that Naeem's one of the most pure, authentic guys. It's just sweet. And we talked deep about what is the process, what did he experience. This guy saw not only Trump's assassination and documented it, which we cover in the show, but he also saw in March of 2023, on a totally separate target, he saw Elon Musk in the White House.
That's a trip.
And we cover that as well. And it's like, and he's writing. He's, as you can see him in the session, he's going. I'm thinking, what is this guy doing in the White House? Okay, this is totally off target.
Yeah, now look at us.
Right? So you can find all that at my site, robertbower.com. And all the social stuff is the same. And but the Naeem Vendreas conversation is outstanding.
It was, man. And for
really
somebody who has chronic ADHD, I literally listened to the whole episode. And that's probably the first time I've done that. Because I'm a chop guy, you know what I'm saying? I'll sit there and I'll bit and piece stuff, or I'll watch the reels. But I was literally fascinated. It's a huge area of interest for me, but it was presented in such a way that even if you have speculations on it, it's a fascinating show. So please get over there and check it out. And of course, StucciMedia.com. I was just looking. I made a post, Bower. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Incredible numbers in 5 days, right?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And it's blown my mind. And the reason why people now, typically, companies, we're not going to sit here and always talk about this stuff, right? But I have certain points that I'm proving. I'm being a piece of shit in a way. But I'm also, from a professional aspect, I do everything manually. I don't do AI SEO. I don't do AI anything. I'll use AI to grab content and give me ideas. And, so AI has its benefits. But I don't let AI dictate my website. And so everything that the website is getting is off of organic fucking searches, which is mind fucking blowing. So in 5 days, we reached like 120,000. In the last 2 days, we reached 50,000. So I'm not even saying we're breaking records anymore because it's doing exactly what we're expecting it to do. It's growing, right? So I could sit every fucking day now and just be like, oh, we broke a record. We're not breaking records. We're growing. But I say this because the last 6 months of my fucking life have been horrible. And Bower and I have talked, probably I've talked with Bower the most on my situations personally than anybody else on the fucking planet. And Bower also has a fucking phenomenal story of rebuilding, right? And so when you are able to go through some adversity in life and at the same time still build something, it's hard to feel the reward, but the reward is there. And it's reminding you that you ain't going fucking nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So, Bower, man, I appreciate you as a friend, bro, and I appreciate the many conversations we've had with my personal struggles, bro, and I mean that sincerely, because it's, as a man, it's kind of humiliating to sometimes talk about some things. But I thank you.
Well, the thing is, brother, we've been on this road for a long time. The duration and the track record and the experiences culminate into each next that comes. And to me, this is the next for both of us. I mean, and it couldn't come at a better time. I think the state of change is changing, and the rate of change is changed. The change that's here, I think, is some of the most profound I've ever experienced, and I think even read about in history. I think we're at the cusp of what's going to be something so transformative that it's going to blow the minds of those with minds, which are all of us, but it'll be in varying degrees because it's going to be of a level of reality that has been suppressed for millennia for a variety of reasons. So the awakening and the awareness of everything is frequency. Everything, those frequencies vibrate, they wave. They're always in motion. They're always creating more of themselves. We are unique in that stream, and we can determine how we want to interact with the stream. And the best way to do that is to understand the stream.
Understand, or at least try to. At least try to get whatever.
In the stream And, it's like, be like water. Water does not push against a rock. It goes around it. Right? So I think we're at the beginning of this awesome time, and sharing it with you, my brother, is just, it is.
We got a lot of work to do, bro. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do, man, and it's honored to ride the wave with your brother. So expect to see a lot more of Mr. I was going to say fucking Bower. Expect to see more of my brother Bower. So we're going to do this. We'll figure out a day and time. It may be spontaneous. We may come to a date and time just to help everybody out, but we'll always make sure that we give everybody at least a day ahead of time. Just to notice when we kind of figure our schedules out to say, this is when we're going to do it. If you guys want to come and hang out, but the rebroadcasts are always available. So thank you all for hanging out with us today, man. We covered some deep shit. I'm going to have to go back and listen to some stuff over again, but get on over to Bower's site, get on over to the next cast, his YouTube channel, and Robert Bower. Is it robertbower.com?
RobertBower.com, yep.
RobertBower.com. Damn, you got
right
that
there,
name.
Right there under my name, right in that little box down there.
There it is. Oh, yeah, duh. I could have referenced that. So go to robertbower.com. And, of course, you can catch all of Robert's shows, the full shows. All the reels, you got to go to his YouTube. But the full shows, you can go to StucciMedia.com, click the podcast tab, and you'll see Sexy Bower right there. So with that being said, folks, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. On behalf of Robert Bower and myself, Rocky Stucci, from our family to yours, much love, much respect. Until next time. Hey, Bower, what's rule number 1?
Don't let anybody try to give you any of the shit that they have, because at the end of the day, you're just going to give it back to them in spades.
We love you guys. We all, bro. Damn. Dude, that was fucking deep, bro.